Many Bothans died. Bring us this information.
Hello and welcome to Unlimited Power TCG. In this video we're going to be looking at the Ashes of the Empire Spotlight Deck for Luke Skywalker, kindly provided as a sample copy by Fantasy Flight Games and Asmodee UK. Thank you very much for doing that. It's an honour to look at this, get to go through it and see what we can do and offer to help out people who may be getting started in Star Wars Unlimited or want some tips or ideas to enhance and upgrade the Spotlight deck and see where you go from there. So I'll be going through the deck list, everything that's in the deck itself. We'll be going through the tips and tricks provided by Fantasy Flight Games devs inside the deck itself. They'll just be on the screen. I'm not going to read them out. They're there for you to read and digest and do as much as you want. I'm going to highlight some of the cards I particularly like in the deck. I'm going to highlight the cards I would look to cut from there and the reasons as to why, and then the cards I'd look to add. All the cards I'm looking to add are Premier Legal as of time of filming. Some of these cards will rotate out of Premier Legality as of set... what's that? 79. Set 10, early in 2027, which is looking like it's going to be either February or March sort of time that will get released. So we'll get a good few months of use out of it as here. And if we need to revisit it at a later date, we will absolutely do so. And finally, I'll show off the upgraded deck that I've put together for you to take away and mess around with a deck link in the video description below if you want to take it away and not just look at it on a screen. So yeah, let's jump right in. So we're going to take a look at this Spotlight deck for Luke Skywalker from Ashes of the Empire. For those of you who may not have opened a Spotlight deck before, have no idea what to expect. Or even if you do and you just want to see this and you want to see what is in the booster pack that I'm going to crack, let's get on with it and do this thing. So first off, you got a box in here, you got all the descriptive stuff on the back and underneath and barcodes and all sorts of gubbins. Ultimately, the contents of this box, which it might focus on, or it might not, I don't know if it will. No, it won't, but if we put it back far enough, it'll focus on that, which would be good. So it contains 50 card fixed deck, a base, a leader, 3 double-side token cards, 31 counters with a little cardboard nature, and 1 booster pack. So yeah, there we go. Right, it's a lot of cardboard, empty space packaging for the sake of a small little deck that's going to be in here, which takes up that much space. So like that much of that, yeah, which is great, and that much of that, which is, so yeah, loads of empty space in there. We got the thing, we got the booster pack. What we do not have is we do not have instructions. Spotlight decks assume that you know the game that you're about to be playing. These are the cardboard tokens you get with them. They're kind of cool. You get the initiative, you get the thing for marking your epic action being done, and you got a load of hit point tokens, which is great. So let's get rid of those. Right, so here's the pack, the deck itself. As you can see, we've got labelled for, this is Ashes of the Empire Deck A. So in here, which is just a nice little sort of paper wrapping held with a tiny bit of glue and so forth, we have that. And in here we have the leader card, Luke Skywalker, double-sided as it would normally be. You've got the base, and on the base is a set list, a deck list as well for things that the deck list that's in here. So if you ever want to reset it, that's all in there. And to view the rules, you scan the QR code to view the rules. And then you've got all these bits and bobs, which is the deck itself, which is cool. We're going to be going through the deck list shortly in the video. So this is everything that is in there, which is great. Then we got the 3 tokens, which are kind of interesting because on the 3 tokens, on one side they're advantage tokens, and on 2 of them on the other side they are shield tokens, which is great. But there is also this tips and tricks token, which will give you a little bit of idea about how to use the deck and what sort of strategies you might want to use with it. I'll take a photo of this, I'll zoom in, I'll put it on the screen in the video a little bit later so you can see it in a bit more detail. So yeah, there we go. That is the Spotlight deck. Physically what you get in the box in a nutshell. But now let's do the fun part. For this, in each Spotlight deck you get a booster pack. So let's see what we get. No, I have not opened this and pre-stacked it or anything. It's purely going to see what we get. And it is not a showcase. Woo, we got an Ezra. We got a base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commons. A hyperspace Alamite Hunter. I do like hyperspaces. 2, 3, 4, 5 more commons. We have a Hyper Foil Pegasus Tri-Wing, which is very shiny. Nice little card. Uncommons, we have a Trask Walker, Hu Yang, and a Purgil Ultra. And we have a legendary, a Grogu, which will go great because I do still need some of those in my collection. So, yeah, awesome. Right, that's that. Before we look at the deck list, let's take a quick look at the leader card itself. This is the Hyperspace version that you can get from pre-release. I just love Hyperspace. I think they look really, really cool. What he does is he keeps your units alive. When they attack, they don't have to be attacking another unit. They could be attacking base, but they do have to survive the attack in order to benefit from his healing damage from that unit. He will deploy. Also, you don't need to activate him to do so. It just passively happens as a side effect of the attack taking place. Obviously, you can only do it once per turn because he exhausts, but that's fine. I mean, it's you're not taking a separate action to do so, which would make it just that little bit less interesting. Deploys on 7 resources with a 6-7 stat line, which is fairly tasty as it should be for a 7 deploy leader. With his Luke's Jedi lightsaber, that would make him a 9-10, which is an absolute beefcake, and a Sentinel to boot. Luke would count as a friendly unit. Friendly is defined as a unit you control. Luke at this point is a unit you control, so you can heal 2 damage from him after his attack ends, or from your base, so you're likely to be wanting a large board presence as much as possible at that point to attack with as many of them as you can, which is facilitated by the fact that they'll be healing as the game goes on. You can either keep them alive a little bit further, or just start healing your base and frustrate your opponent who's spent every single turn getting up to this, or most of it at the very least, attacking your base and trying to kill you. Definitely a defensive, I want to save people Luke, because that's his comment, I can save him. Maybe he can. The deck list. This is a copy of the deck list of which you will get inside the Spotlight deck itself. You get all sorts of information, details in there, but let's be obvious and clear, this doesn't really tell you much about what's in the cards, because it comes in the Spotlight deck. You're meant to read the cards themselves. However, to be a little bit more helpful, we're going to look at the deck list itself as generated through SwooDB, which is a brilliant website that I use as deck builder and collection tracker and so forth. I really value their services. They've been great as long as Star Wars Unlimited has been going. So in here you can see a whole bunch of cards. Some we've got 3 of, some we've got 2 of, some we've got 1 of. Most of the ones that there are 1 of in here are rares. Most of the cards that there are 3 of in here, but not all of them, are exclusive to the Spotlight deck. There are 4 S rating cards in this Spotlight deck, as there are in all Spotlight decks, which you can only get in this Spotlight deck. The ones in the Spotlight deck won't be hyperspaces. This is a benefit of supporting SwooDB. You can get them as rare pulls inside normal boosters, as in the hyperspace slot or the hyperfoil slot. So that can happen, but as a general rule, you won't pull the normal treatment versions of them as S cards in normal boosters. And the 4 S-rated cards in this deck are Leia Organa, Han Solo, Anakin Skywalker, and Luke's Jedi lightsaber. So yeah, there we are. Awesome. Tips and tricks. As you will have seen earlier when we cracked open the Spotlight deck itself, there's a tips and tricks card inside the deck. Here is the first part of those tips. These are fairly basic, straightforward bits of advice as to what you're doing with the cards for you to give you a little bit of a heads up in what to expect and what's going on and how to manipulate and use the mechanics in your deck. And then a couple of tricks. The Jedi lightsaber is really, really good. Oh, absolutely. Any card that is keyed to a specific unit or a specific restriction is going to be more powerful than a card that costs the same amount of resources to play as a general rule. They add power budget because when you play it with Luke, it gets extra shiny stuff, which is as it should be. It's Luke's lightsaber. And follow me as an event. Yeah, it helps boost attacks. So I guess it's just calling it out for extra attention there, which is absolutely fine. Cards that I particularly like from this deck. There's only 3 that I've called out and spotted as having exceptional synergy with the deck. Silver Angel is amazing because you'll attack with it. You'll hopefully not die into what you're attacking. Not many turn 1 space plays do 3 damage, but just in case they do, you'll hit something, you'll take 1 or 2 damage back. Occasionally you'll take 3, in which case you'll die. But if you take less than that, you'll be healed from one of them, at which point the damage is healed from the space ship, and then it deals 1 more damage to a space unit. So this can take out any 3 hit point space unit that doesn't kill it. So anything with attack of 2 or less and hit points of 3 or less will die to Silver Angel, which is a pretty good, nice little synergy for what is essentially an uncommon single blue aspect card. Leia Organa and Han Solo both benefit from this in that they deal damage to the unit and then either heal from the base or give advantage tokens, and then when you attack with them, they can, using the Luke leader ability, heal themselves some of the damage that they've been taken. It's just when they attack, they don't have to attack another unit, so they could attack base, do damage there, and then heal themselves. That is something that they could do, and this will allow you to get extra benefit out of these units from healing the damage done to them in order to get their special abilities to work, which is pretty cool. I love the artwork as well, very nice. Cards. Oh yeah, more cards I like. There was more cards that I like than just those three. Excellent. Baze Malbus has extra synergy with damage being healed from him. You may deal damage to a unit, so when you heal damage with him from Luke, he will shoot back and give that damage back to another unit you want to shoot for some more damage somewhere later on. Likewise, Cobvanth can take some damage in order to give out shields, and you can heal that, so he could potentially keep going a little bit longer and give out more shields. Battered Hallcraft also damages itself in return for a positive benefit, just like the Silver Angel we looked at a moment ago, although it's just when played in this case. And Red Squadron X-Wing deals damage to itself to draw a card. 2 damage for drawing a card is a really good rate. Obviously, it leaves you with only a 3/2. And then when you attack, you can hopefully heal a damage with Luke if you haven't died in the meantime. Then again, you are on 2 hit points, so it's relatively easy to kill the Red Squadron X-Wing after it's been damaged in that way. But that means the opponent has to do it, otherwise you risk healing and restoring it to full health and keeping on going from there. Cards that I would cut from this Spotlight deck. There's a couple. There's only a couple in this case. I don't think the Green Leader has massive synergy with this deck. It's a powerful card. 3 attack. You may deal 2 damage to a unit when it's defeated. Is great. But you're going to get absolutely no use out of the leader ability whatsoever, because 1 damage will kill it, and you're not going to have a chance to survive and heal using Luke's leader ability. Likewise, Home One is a really powerful 8 resource unit at 710. What you want to do, largely be doing at 8 resources, though, you want to be ending the game, finishing. You don't really want to be prolonging it much longer. So healing all damage from each friendly unit at that point isn't going to win you the game. It might stop you losing pretty solidly, but it isn't going to win you the game. So I have chosen to cut that, and we're going to add something a little bit more powerful with Endgame Punch in, just to take us over the finish line there. Cards I would consider adding. There's a few of these. What are we looking at here? We're looking at Cloud Rider Veteran. You can attack for 1 damage. You can attack into anything that does less than 3 damage back and stay alive and heal yourself with Luke, and you'll still be doing 2 damage to the base every single time for a common card. It's pretty tasty. Likewise, Rancor Keeper is interesting because anytime you attack and don't die, you will A, heal with Luke, and B, use Rancor Keeper to ping opposing base for another point of damage, which is pretty tasty. Page Tico is a pilot upgrade. You give an experience token to the unit when it attacks and deal 1 damage to it, so it gets +1 attack. And then you're going to heal that damage, assuming you don't die, using Luke's leader ability. So there's some very nice synergies in here with Page Tico as a pilot upgrade. Finally, Crosshair can deal 1 damage to another unit, which could be potentially healed with Luke's leader ability if you do deal 2 damage to the defending player's base, which is pretty nice, especially if you combo it with the Rancor Keeper, and you can start having some nice little feedback loops going on there for extra damage all over the place. Other cards I'd consider adding, considering that you're going to be doing damage to things and hopefully surviving. Red 5 will help you finish off units that you've damaged but not necessarily killed. Dilapidated Skeed Speeder isn't the most amazing card in the world, but as a 3/4 on 3 is not bad, and then you could potentially heal it to continue its lifespan and keep it going longer and longer and longer, so that would be very useful. Keeping Sentinels up and alive a little bit longer is also useful, assuming the opponent isn't able to kill them all in one go, and Bith Brute in general is just really, really powerful as a 4/3 Sentinel Saboteur. Defense Fleet X-Wing, obviously 1/4 Sentinel in space, isn't going to be killing a lot with its 1 attack, but should survive for a while with 4 health, and hopefully you can attack in between those and regain a point of health if you don't die in between doing so. The Academy Disciplinarian, though, I do really like. Dealing 1 damage to a friendly unit with 2 or less power. You're playing it on 3. Most of the things you're going to be playing on turn 1 will have 2 or less power. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And so dealing damage to that, going again and attacking with it, and then healing that damage when you attack with it, means that you've effectively got a free attack for nothing and a 3/4 Academy Disciplinarian. So I think that is a very tasty card, and I'm very happy to include it in the deck list that I've gone with, crooking up from upgrading this deck. Other cards worth considering adding. Dakar Cargo Frigate gets stronger the less damage it has on it, so being able to heal damage from it passively using leader ability is quite tasty, and 6/7 stats for 5 cost is quite heavy stats. Doesn't do a lot else, but still pretty heavy stats. You're looking to heal and be defensive a lot with this deck until you get to flip your leader and go into the end game, so healing with Coronet is very strong as well. Also, your units are hopefully going to survive a little bit longer than otherwise, so giving them restore will give you extra healing to let the game go a bit longer. Honor's just powerful, as is Zeb Aurelius. Both of them, they're both in aspect colours. They hit like a truck. Zeb shoots stuff when it comes down. You won't get a full 5 damage because we're not playing a splash base for the extra aspects. But you will do damage, and then you'll be a 4/4 Sentinel, which is tasty, especially considering you potentially heal. A lot of things can probably kill you outright when you're playing at 5 resource cost units, so you might not get a chance to heal him with that. Possibly not the best synergies here, but still a powerful card in general. And the Rotunda Senate Guards will lose Sentinel the moment it is damaged, and then you get to heal it with Luke. So that is a danger your opponent will have to be cognizant of and deal with in order to stop it regaining Sentinel as the game continues. They're just going to have to kill it, which means it might as well have been a Sentinel in the first place if it's making your opponent attack into it. I think this is the last page of cards I'd consider adding. Moral Authority is a really powerful upgrade and removal at the same time. If it's doing stuff with capturing things with less remaining hit points than it, that's really good synergy with a leader that passively heals the units as and when they attack, buffing their attack and attaching an enemy non-leader unit with no other restrictions across arena. Mastery is a very powerful upgrade. You're playing a lot of unique units in this, and buffing Luke with it is going to be crazy because he's a bit of a beast. Chirrut Imwe has more direct synergies with the Baze Malbus we looked at earlier, but still, an 8/6 Saboteur on 6 doesn't do much, or doesn't do anything the turn it comes out. However, it will present a massive threat, and also healing damage from other units is very, very good and is a direct synergy with the Baze, so that is something that I considered off the back of that alone. The Imposing Scout Walker, dealing more damage to a ground unit to finish them off if they've taken some damage from an attack earlier. And to kill things and gain advantage tokens to hit a little bit harder next turn is great and tasty and interesting in its aspect. Sindralig was the card that I pulled out as being the most interesting as a finisher, because in upgrading these decks, what I've done is the only things I've tried to keep sacred and failed in a couple of places is keep all 3 copies of the special rarity cards in this deck, because they're part of the identity of the Spotlight deck, right? Which is 3 copies of Luke's Jedi Lightsaber. You generally only need 2 of them to have been able to draw 1 by the point you flip your leader, give or take. So 3 is a bit much. But if you've got this kicking around, maybe you've drawn 2 of them by the end game, maybe you've only drawn 1 and you save it for this. You play Sindralig on 8, you play Luke's Lightsaber on it, which is a +3/+3, so he's suddenly an 8/9 ready unit on turn 8. That's a good finisher. That can close you the game, that can win. That's a potentially strong play for a cheap legendary. It's not seen an awful lot of use, not been massively popular in the metagames, so if you haven't got it, you should be able to pick it up reasonably cheaply in doing so. And I thought that was kind of interesting card to include in this deck as the late game, really. Yeah, so. Oh yeah, there was a few more. That wasn't the last of them. Collateral damage will do some more damage to units that you've weakened and hit already with units that have hopefully survived and maybe finish them off for a cheap value, or maybe it'll finish one off and do damage to the base, which is great for a little bit of extra reach. One Way Out will also give you a little bit of extra reach at a cheap cost of 1, gaining Overwhelm. There's not a lot of high damage or high power units in this deck, but there are a few. But also, Defender losing all abilities for attack can be very interesting in some edge cases, so I flagged that as being worthy of consideration. Fight Fire with Fire is very cheap, dealing 3 damage to 2 units. Admittedly, one of them's got to be yours, but you have the ability to heal your units, so maybe it's not that bad. I didn't end up including that in the deck, but it certainly caught my interest as being one that had synergy with the leader for being able to heal its units. Oh god, there's more. I completely forgot how many cards I flagged as being worthy of inclusion in this deck. Retaliation defeats a unit, any unit. This is one of the few cards that will just kill leaders after they've attacked the base, though, so it's got that heavy restriction in there. That is worth considering these days. Lost and Forgotten will only defeat non-lead leader units, but it will also help you survive that turn longer to deploy Luke on his flip turn on 7 resources. The Tree, remember, is very powerful removal in that it will kill anything that costs 3 or less, even if it's got a pilot upgrade on it. That stops you from killing it, like the Chewbacca pilot. Galvanized Sleep, because you've got synergies through Luke of having your units survive, this will help them ready and go again. And once Luke's deployed, you can attack with them again and heal again through the use of this event. So that is a very interesting event that I was quite drawn to, especially in concert when Luke deploys on the 7 resources flip turn. You can play his lightsaber for 3, you can play galvanized leap for 4. You can get a lot of value out of that. That makes a very explosive flip turn, especially if you've got a bunch of units already on the board. So let's take a look at what I put together in the end for the upgraded deck. We've left Anakin in there, we've left the Jedi lightsaber for reasons that it works with Luke himself and it will work with Sindralig at the bottom there. We've left Leia in here and Han. I've added in Crosshair and the Rancor Keeper for the synergies I mentioned earlier. We've absolutely added in Academy Disciplinarian because he's really, really good and useful. The Silver Angel I elected to keep because it's really, really good in this, as is Battle Hallcraft. I've gone through the reasons as to why all the cards I've put in here are good. It was just a case of choosing the ones that were more good than any others. So I welcome all feedback on this. I really hope that you can see something that either you like or don't like and would make some suggestions as to what should be in here, could be in here, could be better in here. This has kept the same base, the 30 hit points red base in here. I haven't changed that because I believe that is also part of the core identity of the deck. Maybe you pull this together, maybe you give it a go. Maybe I'll pull it together and give it a go at local weekly play. That could be fun. It'll be interesting to see how well it does and how close to the mark I've made it with the cards that I've included in this Spotlight deck. So yeah, there we go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you got some value out of this. See you in the next one. Cheers.